I have always been a huge Bret Hart fan. He was a wrestler ahead of his time. Bret's famous for the pink on black theme, and I am famous for the purple on black theme, and we are both the excellence of execution. Bret had a unique cool about him. He acted cool, but he didn't act like he was acting cool. He just sort of was cool. Bret was an excellent ring general and had great ring psychology. He knew when to speed it up, slow it down, go for high impact, go for the rest holds. He knew where to be in that ring at all times. I particularly love the matches where he goes toe-to-toe for 10 minutes, gets worn down those last 5 minutes, and just when you think he's out, he turns it around with an excellent and creative counter move to get the pinfall, or to apply his signature move, the sharpshooter. I've seen some wrestlers try to pull this off and fail miserably. They get their asses handed to them for 10 minutes straight and then turn it around last minute by their opponent basically slipping on a banana peel. This ends up being a disappointment. I recall DDP and X-Pac doing this often. They were losing the match for 99% of the time, with no prayer of winning, until out of the clear blue hit their signature move. To me, that always ruined it and made the victory feel insincere. Bret knew how to turn a match around at the last minute and make it feel believable. I recall back during the Attitude Era of wrestling, me and my cousin got bored and decided to go to the video store and check out some VHS tapes, and we seen some wrestling tapes, and we got a few and watched them. I remember one tape which was a collection of wrestling matches from the 70s. It was horrible. 2 hairy fat guys hugging each other for 15 minutes. That was every match. And then one guy did an atomic drop, and it shocked me and my cousin, because it almost resembled a modern-day wrestling move. We were fascinated by how much wrestling had evolved from the olden days to the modern WWE Attitude Era. And we watched another tape, and I think it was one of the earliest WrestleManias. All the matches, except the main event, was rather boring, except for one other match. That match was Bret Hart vs. somebody. Bret Hart had the modern late 90s style wrestling in his match. He brought the match to life with a modern, that is before his time, feel to everything. He looked 10 years out of place. He wrestled 10 years out of place. He had a style and attitude 10 years ahead of his time. I swear, we both agreed that Bret Hart match was actually a modern day match edited into this wrestling tape. It stood out. It looked modern. The only other wrestler to be televised in the 80s that I have ever gotten that feeling with is Brutus Beefcake, another man similar to Bret in style, and debuting slightly before Bret actually. We did not have that feeling on any other match on any other wrestling tape we rented that night, and aside from Brutus Beefcake, I never got the feeling a wrestler was ahead of his time. Of course there's superstar Billy Graham, but he was about 10 years ahead of his time in the 70s, so in the 70s he looked and acted like he was from the 80s. But Brutus and Hart were in the 80s looking like they were from the 90s. And if some of you don't know who Billy Graham is, he was Hulk Hogan. Hogan stole Billy Graham's look and a lot of other gimmicks and appeal. Actually Hogan ripped off Jesse the Body Ventura, who ripped off superstar Billy Graham. Just to give you an idea of how ahead of his time Billy Graham was, superstar Billy Graham was the 70s wrestler that made the 80s wrestling scene. Anyhow, dare I say it, the Attitude Era of wrestling was founded on Bret Hart's style and appeal. Even an academic study of the Attitude Era will cite its origins involving the rivalry between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, a real-life backstage rivalry that spilled over into their promos, making their promos practically a shoot. Their feud lasted a pretty good while, eventually culminating into the infamous Montreal Screwjob.
Razor, this video is supposed to be about Ravishing Rick Rude.
Oh, okay, let me just segue. The Montreal Screwjob was between Bret Hart and longtime rival Shawn Michaels of the newly established stable D-Generation X, another hallmark of the Attitude Era. One of the founding members was Rick Rude's insurance policy of the D-Generation X, consisting of Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chyna. As a member of DX, Rude never wrestled, but would stay ringside during the group's matches. He once again left WWF, after the Montreal Screwjob at Survivor Series. According to Bret Hart, Rude stayed in the locker room during Bret's confrontation with Vince McMahon, later calling Eric Bischoff and informing him what had happened was in fact real, as Rude was not signed to a full-time contract with WWF, and was instead performing on a pay-per-appearance basis. Rude was able to negotiate a deal with Bischoff and WCW, in part due to his anger over the Montreal Screwjob.
Wow, nice segue, but this video is supposed to be about Ravishing Rick Rude, the MGTOW, not the wrestler.
Why is it I don't even know what my own videos are about?
Because you write down subject matter or just an idea, put it on paper, walk away from it, get around to it a month later, and have no idea why you wrote it down. Because you're lost without Sally, because you're Sally's bitch.
Oh, I do miss Sally. She organized my papers, made the phone calls, helped my creative direction and was always there to remind me how awesome I was. She's been on vacation for a month now.
Her need for a long vacation is rather indicative of a poor work ethic.
No, putting up with you and Paul will drive anyone to mental fatigue.
Anyhow, let's see you segue from real wrestlers to the YouTuber of the same name. How are you possibly going to go from the actual Richard Erwin Rude to the MGTOW YouTuber?
Easy, I'll let Rick Rude handle that himself. Tell us, Rick, why did you name your channel after a wrestler?
He's simply ravishing.
Hey everybody, Ravishing Rick Rude with the Rude Awakening, and today's episode is, well, about none other than Ravishing Rick Rude. Ravishing Rick Rude was truly one of the best villains that ever came across to us. Now, in that sense, one would ask, why is it important? Why did I make Ravishing Rick Rude as my symbol in my channel and my username? But when you look at this from a red pill perspective, why would Ravishing Rick Rude be a perfect symbol for me to use on a red pill channel, on a politically incorrect channel? Well, let's look at the red pill perspective on a whole note. Many MGTOW channels, the entire MGTOW philosophy, we as men going our own way are considered villains. The people who are politically incorrect. In that sense, that's what Ravishing Rick Rude represents for me. A politically incorrect, in-your-face character who played by his own rules and did what he wanted. Now, in contrast, Richard Erwin Rude, also known as by stage name Ravishing Rick Rude, was actually considered a loyal friend, family man, and all-around good guy. Guys such as Bret the Hitman Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin looked to him as somebody they could count on. On stage, everyone hated Rude, but off the stage, everyone loved him. He was somebody people could count on. And that, in a sense, is the kind of thing that MGTOW and the men's movement should be about. The sense of brotherhood, a sense of friendship. And therefore, if we're going to be called villains, why not show it off? Why not be the villain that they want us to be? The only difference between being called a villain and accepting the role as villain is the simple fact that if we live in a society that's upside down, then being the villain might just be the best choice for us. I mean, hell, even guys like Vengeance 1 MGTOW are considered villains in their own right. People like Kite-Tails, for example. Kite-Tails is a villain to the Anita Sarkeesian crowd when she spoke out against Anita Sarkeesian in a video regarding sexism in video games.
In a world that is unfair and evil, in a world where good guys finish last, the crooks run the show, your average person lives in self-persecution to be politically correct like Stockholm Syndrome, and a hero is a thing which is disposable cannon fodder. Being a villain is the new good guy. To support our modern-day system, is to support its persecution of men, and to support its corruption, makes you a crook. And when you are a crook who enforces the rules of the rulers, are disposable to them, you are called a hero. To rebel against the system will make you a villain in the eyes of the corrupt that run the show. As a man going my own way, I will not conform to the expectations placed upon me by a society motivated to persecute me. I will not play by the rules written to imprison me. I am not a hero. Ravishing Rick Rude goes on in another video about heroes and villains, and it is one of the best videos in the manosphere, and perhaps the single greatest commentary on why we find the villain and anti-heroes so appealing. Essentially, villains are the self-serving free men we all wish we could be. They're not tools enslaving themselves to the service of someone else for the rewards society gives them by applying the label hero to them. It even hints at the nature of supposed morality, and while he doesn't talk about morality in his video, it nonetheless inspires thoughts on the nature of right and wrong, good and evil. For example, stealing is said to be wrong by people who have a lot of things. The man with nothing might not have such a problem with the concept of theft. Honesty is a virtue, so says the person who has power over you and fears you lying to him. A man with no power, no say, and no ability to negotiate or drop out, cares less about honesty, because his master can do as he pleases, and therefore his master has no need to lie. If a system is designed to exploit you, cheating the system is justice. I believe it was the amazing atheist who made a video on morality claiming morality is merely conformity. It is conforming to a set of do's and don'ts that benefit the haves at the expense of the have-nots. It is a code those in charge want their subjects to live by. Again, a man without a home, land, and possessions, has little use for respecting property rights, but the man with the mansion, the land, and treasures, sure as hell doesn't want the have-nots on his lawn, or eating his food. Ravishing Rick Rude doesn't actually talk about this, but this sort of thing is relevant to what he is saying. He says, and I paraphrase, that a hero is only useful when there is a villain or a problem to others. Being expected to risk your life to stop a villain or fix a problem doesn't benefit you, it benefits those around you. Your applause and praise for your heroic deeds are only granted to you for your servitude to those handing out the praises. Without that villain or problem, there would be no hero's welcome for you. I infer from that. The title heroic deeds, that is self-sacrifice, disposability, is a moral virtue because it serves the needs of other people who cannot or will not do for themselves. A hero is selfless, seeks no reward. This benefits the selfish person who benefited by your sacrifice, and doesn't feel like paying you for it. Again, Rick Rude doesn't come out and say this, but from his powerful words, such ideas come into play. It's one of those videos that will really get you thinking. His video is so good, it is seriously one of the best in the manosphere. I want to show you clips of the video to give you an idea of what he's talking about, but I don't know where to clip and edit to highlight it. The whole thing is really good. I'll just play the first minute or so.
In a world where dreams, desires, inspirations, and hope are far and few, a society is drawn to ideals, and people who can give them inspiration to become their very best self. Those people are therefore given the seemingly admirable role as hero, a beacon of hope to all those who feel lost, alone, afraid, and otherwise rejected by society at large. The role of hero is usually seen as one that most people aspire to be, but very few can attain because its rewards are often the only thing most can see. This, in a sense, is seen as some sort of reward because of the benefits such a title can create. I question the very title of hero, not out of jealousy, but simply because I firmly believe that the role of hero, in my humble opinion, is more of a curse than a blessing, a burden rather than a benefit. If we wish to be free men in this world, we must be willing to question the role of hero and expose it for what it truly is, and that is a role of eternal slavery, a role in which the hero is not a full, flawed human being capable of making mistakes, errors in judgment, or has the ability to fail in life. Any human being, especially a man, has very little room to fail in daily life, for if he were to ever fail in his task as a beacon of salvation and hope, he immediately loses his title as hero.
One of the things I like about Ravishing Rick Rude is his unapologetic behavior, his political incorrectness. He is controversial by nature and not afraid to speak his mind and to go where others fear to tread. He embraces the role of villain to tell it to you like it is. He is a forward thinker pushing the envelope. Many of his videos are hit or miss. You'll either love it or hate it. This is because he's not afraid to experiment, to try something new, to go out on a limb. He is experimental and innovative. How many other MGTOW or MRAs talk to their audience about men's issues while 50% of the time doing it in character as a pro wrestler? None that I've seen. One moment he is talking about any given issue in the men's rights movement, or any given gender dynamic, and out of the clear blue he starts making Ric Flair and Hacksaw Jim Duggan references, spitting out catchphrases and cutting a promo as Rick Rude. It is bizarre and fascinating, but at times can become nonsensical and confusing to non-fans of pro wrestling. But why does Ravishing Rick Rude talk to his audience about men's issues and MGTOW philosophy as a wrestling character? Fuck if I know. Probably the same reason I have two narrators living in my tool shed, and take feminists out on a date in a Bugatti Veyron, because it's fun. That's why Ravishing Rick Rude has come up with ideas that I have never thought about before, such as
Feminism and rich white men These stories and more at The Rude Awakening. Hey everybody, Ravishing Rick Rude with The Rude Awakening. Let's talk about feminism's obsession with rich white men. If you haven't noticed, reading lately, you've seen that feminists are always championing themselves as these social justice warriors, fighting for equality and rights and whatnot. But why do they always fight the rich white man? Why are they the only target if they truly believe in equality of the sexes and the races? Well, I think one reason is that I think that feminists, honestly, not the gay or lesbian ones, but the heterosexual female feminists are secretly desiring white men. I mean, just look at dating trends. In America, rich white men are the most desirable men on the planet as far as American standards go. Hell, women from other countries travel here just to get a white man, marry them due to hypergamy.
Up until I seen that video, I don't think I ever thought about that beyond the realm of cultural Marxism, but now that Rick has rudely awakened me to the idea, it does make a lot of sense. It would appear there is an additional motive for all the hatred these feminists have for the rich white heterosexual cisgendered male. Feminists, which as a majority are white heterosexual women, are seeking out men. But what kind of man? Well, obviously the majority of white women want white men. Hell, even Asian women want white men, because even though Asian people are on a per capita basis, more academically successful than any other race in America, and more financially successful than any other race in America, and commit the least amount of crime in America, and therefore are institutionally overrepresented, the target of hate is focused on white people. One explanation is that even though on a per capita basis Asians are winning in the competition for success, white people in total run the show. Here in the English-speaking world, that is the majority of the industrialized first world, women are about the hypergamy. They will leave one man for a higher status male like a snake shedding its skin, without loyalty, guilt, or regret. Also, women don't like short men, and Asian men are on average short and built small and frail compared to white men, so women of all races overlook Asian men, in preference for a tall strong beefy black man, or a wealthy white man. White people in predominantly white nations have status by virtue of being the majority, and as I said, white people tend to make up the bulk of the wealthy, and thus the white race appears to be the upper class race. This stereotype, this illusion gives whites status. Being white gives you status in a white society, and most people have same race mating preference, so the majority of women are white, thus are seeking out a white man. On top of white men being the most common, having the most amount of wealth in total, they are of the same stock as the majority of women, so women seek them out, which makes them popular, which helps to fuel their status. A self-feeding cycle. Status begets status. But what kind of white man are women seeking out? Rich ones that will fuck them, heterosexual, and rich ones that will be disposable manly tools of labor, so trannies need not apply. We all know women want rich heterosexual cisgendered males, so women, and thus feminists, seek out the rich white heterosexual cis male. And what is the exact demographic they bitch about, ridicule, and blame all their problems on? Rich white heterosexual cis males, of course. Feminists attacking the very demographic they want to fuck, rather reminds me of the little girl hitting the little boy she has a crush on. Of course, I would like to also add that most feminists, white women, have old white heterosexual cis males for fathers. Patriarchy. Can someone say daddy issues? And that's another possibility to think about. But I like the way Rick comes up with this stuff, and no matter how controversial, he just says it, and if you're offended, too bad. He's not here to put a smile on your face, inflate your ego, or tell you what you want to hear. He's here to kick your ass and sleep with your wife, because quite frankly Rick Rude knows your old lady is tired of waking up every day next to your fat ass, your hairy back, your ugly face, watching your beer belly eat your belt, and waiting for the Viagra to kick in so you can give her some lovin'. She wants a man like Rick Rude, 6'4", 240 pounds of the leanest sexiest muscle, best damn physique in the history of the business, and the sexiest man in the world, who can, let's just say, rise to the occasion, if you know what I mean. So to all you haters out there, you're just angry that your wife spends half your paycheck on batteries and Rick Rude posters, and has developed a headache every night since the night you were foolish enough to take her to WrestleMania where she got an eyeful of the one. the only, the Ravishing Rick Rude.
He's simply ravishing.
Hey everybody, Ravishing Rick Rude, here with the Rude Awakening. Now, I'm gonna first off say that I am very sorry. It has been too damn long since I made a video. And there's a couple reasons for this. One of which is the simple fact that I didn't have a new idea. I'm gonna sit there and say that guys like Stardust and Razor Blade Candy and Barbarossa and other people were just pushing out videos, and I didn't have one rational idea in my head, so I didn't want to follow their curtails either. I didn't want to just follow them up. I'm kind of a trendsetter in my own right. I like to come up with my own ideas. So, if you guys want new content from me every single week, I'm gonna have to ask for a donation. Not in the financial sense. My donations will cost you no money at all. What I would like is for you to, if you want me to keep going every single week like I used to, and like I plan to do again, it would severely help that if you want me to give somebody a rude awakening, like let's say a YouTuber whose video you don't agree with, or you see an article you don't like, make a comment below on this page or send it to my YouTube. Send it over on the emails or whatnot.
The only donation he wants is your intellectual donation. Want him to give some feminist cunt a rude awakening? Link him a video. You got a topic you want his thoughts on? Give him a holler. In this video he goes on to discuss types of women you'll find on dating sites. I love this one particular type.
And what I mean by the ancient aliens effect is, well, in a minute, I'll put the link down below where you'll see the guy from Ancient Aliens, if you've ever watched the show. His hair basically gets worse and worse and worse as each season progresses, and I put it in a 2-minute clip so that you'll understand what I'm talking about. And the Ancient Aliens guy is basically a metaphor for a girl who will, and let's say OkCupid, she'll have a great picture on her profile, right? It's a pretty good picture. She looks attractive. But as you progress through the line of pictures in her profile, she gets fatter and uglier, more disgusting looking, less fashionable. She just becomes fatter and fatter and fatter and uglier and just more miserable looking with each progressing picture. Just in the exact same way that the Ancient Aliens guy's hair just keeps getting worse and uglier and...
Oh brother, tell me about it. They look like a weight loss program's progress pics in reverse. I call those types of women faces of meth, because they look like a timeline of before meth, default pic, and the further you go through the pics, the longer they've been doing meth. And you know the mechanism behind this anomaly, right? These ugly ass bitches go through the past 5 years worth of selfies, and then select the one that due to chance, angle, lighting, outfit, they just look really nice. They post that as their default, but people want more than one pic, so they slowly put up the second least ugly picture of themselves, and then the third least ugly. The male mind sees this and says, you know what, she has potential. I seen that one good pic, and some of the others ain't half bad. She got potential. Gentlemen, no. You need to understand two things. The ugliest picture of her is still better than what she is going to look like in real life. And number two, women never improve their looks. I'm serious. You see how good they look now? This is the best they will ever look. They only get worse. You see how she is just kinda chubby? And you think to yourself, if the bitch just lost 15 pounds, damn, she'd be fine. Guess what? She'll only get fatter. Realize, they always look worse in real life than their worst picture. They'll never be as thin as the day you meet them, and their looks only go downhill. There is another type of woman I want to bring to your attention, the kind I call Casper. These are white bitches that be glowing like Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's not that they have crappy cams, it's a Photoshop effect. What this does is blurs out their imperfections. That's right, These bitches put on a ton of makeup made by DuPont, Krylon, and draw their face with makeup by crayon. Their makeup is an inch thick as it is, and you can still see the pockmarks and the she-beast beneath all those coats of paint. So what do? They blur themselves in motherfucking Photoshop, so all you see is the lipstick that has drawn the shape of their lips, the eyeliner that has drawn the shape of their eyes, the basic outline of their face, and their hair. I swear, I've seen cartoons and comics with more facial features than these women. No wonder men are jacking off to cartoons. The average woman on the internet is so photoshopped that they look like cartoons. 3 to 5 coats of makeup with their face drawn on, stuffing their bra, fake boobs with their booty pop to make it look like they have an ass, the elastic in their bras pushing their tits against gravity. These bitches are so fake you might as well be looking at a tranny. In fact, that's why there are so many trannies that look convincing. The average woman is about as natural as Ronald McDonald or Bozo the Clown. These men put on wigs, paint their faces like a fucking mime and say, I look like a girl. Yeah, well that's only because girls look like fucking mimes. Let me tell you, with the combination of them putting on false lashes, concealer, dyeing their hair, stuffing their bra, using booty pop to give them the illusion of having an ass, using only the best photos out of thousands taken over the past 5 years, applying Photoshop effects to the image, they have so greatly lied to you, misinformed you, that any lie you tell to them is justified. For example, are you a 5'5" Asian guy who lives with his parents and works in fast food? Tell that bitch you are a 6'5", blonde-haired, blue-eyed, Irishman with a 9-inch dick that lives in a mansion, drives a Ferrari, has 2 MMA championship belts, is a Navy SEAL with a Purple Heart and pulls in 7 figures a year, and that you are texting all of this while cruising the shores of Venice on your yacht, and you will no more have lied to her about anything than she has. And when she catches you on one of these lies, grab that bitch's fake eyelashes, yank those fuckers off and say, I'll start being honest. When you do, another type of woman on these sites is what I call the busts, because you can't see them from the cleavage down. They're fat and have no ass, so they take overhead cleavage shots to say, look at these huge titties, all the while hiding the fact they are whales. Gentlemen, if the bitch ain't showing off her ass, it's because she ain't got one. If she had it, she'd be showing it. If she had a trim tummy, you'd be seeing her tummy. And then there is what I like to call look at my tits. But don't objectify me. These are women that show off their tits in practically every picture, because they are such worthless, desperate people. They'll do anything to make you look at them and show you the only enticing part of them, the only thing they have to offer a man, their body, but then claim they want to be respected as people, and you're a nasty man for sexualizing them. You are to love them for who they are. I'm sorry, but these worthless fucks belong in the dumpster. I mean, come on, it's like being a stripper that grinds their ass against a guy's crotch for money, and then acting hurt that he isn't respecting her for her personality. Anyhow, for those of you who have briefly heard of the MGTOW Ravishing Rick Rude, I urge you to check out his channel. You can start with his villain video I have linked in the description. His video style varies from video to video. He may not be for everyone, but he's unique. He's something new. You owe it to yourself to give this unique thinker and entertainer a chance. And I look forward to doing a collaboration with Rick Rude in the future. In fact, I've started a skit for a video in the distant future, which will contain voiceovers by my old friend Cheswold Almighty, and Rick Rude. I, the Purple and Black Attack, am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. But everyone needs a tag team partner. And with that said, Rick, I hear you have a thing for the Asian ladies, so pop open a can of Steve Weiser, and let's drink to this.
Luthesh.
What?
Luthesh was the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
But it was Bret Hart's catchphrase.
But it would be more accurate to apply it to Luthesh.
You fucking interrupted Asian strip teasers for that? This is why no one loves you, Kate.